What's up, world? It's your boy Top Ramen again, bringing you another tech talk. In the previous video, we talked about the 5 different reasons as to why I thought it was important for everybody to learn code to some degree. And in this video, I want to talk to you about the 3 different ways in which it's possible to actually learn code and actually transition into the tech industry as a software developer. Before I get into that though, I just want to make sure that it's 100% clear that the transition from where you are today to an employable software developer is not going to be an easy task whatsoever. Learning code takes a lot of hard work, a lot of study, and really a lot of practice. You need to always be building, but it's definitely possible as long as you're willing to put in that work and put in that time and effort. I believe in you. Just believe in yourself basically, and you can muster through all of the tough times, that's for sure. So don't get so inspired by the figures that you might have seen in the previous video. Those figures will come as long as you know and understand the skills that you're trying to learn. Because I know that neither time or money is bountiful for everyone, I want to outline these different ways of entering the industry in terms of the financial costs and the time that's going to be needed to actually enter the industry. I'll also outline just the things that it takes personally. Make sure you have the characteristics and make sure you're actually in a position in which you can make this transition. So the first approach and the, I guess, cheapest in terms of financial cost is going to be the self-study approach. With this industry, it's a lot about what you actually know versus where you learned it from. So what a lot of teams and hiring managers are looking for is actually people who can do what it is that they say they can do. They can sit down, they can code, and they can problem solve basically. And with that being said, there's a lot of people who are catching on and figuring out that if I want to enter this industry, really what I need to do is just know how to program, how to code. So whether that be to work for someone else or to even do freelance work for yourself. In this industry, a major philosophy is accessibility. And with that, there are a lot of resources that you can find online for free. You can find PDFs. You can go to YouTube and find plenty of tutorials teaching you how to learn in different programming languages. You can go to different courses, or you can take up different courses online, such as Codecademy. You can watch videos on Udemy, Pluralsight. There's one called Free Code Camp. I'm not here to plug them all right now, but if you want, I can give you my opinion on which of those courses I think are the best. Of those that I just said, I've used all but one, which is Udemy. Pluralsight, Codecademy, Free Code Camp, YouTube, they were all great for me while I supplemented my learning. Let's see. For the self-study approach, you can definitely get the job done, but you're going to need a lot of discipline. If you aren't a person who's able to just simply focus on doing something repetitively day after day, and you're easily distracted, I might not consider that approach because it's going to take a lot of hard work. You may get bored, especially if if you find yourself being constantly stuck without real solutions. You may become discouraged. So unless you have that discipline, I might not take that approach. But if you have that discipline and your resources are a little more strict than someone else's, then yeah, maybe that may be the perfect course for you. As far as the cost there, in terms of finances, really, the online courses that you can take are subscribed courses. So what you can do is pay like $19.99 a month, and throughout the duration of your study, just keep paying that $19.99 for each month that you need that service. But like I said, there's plenty of resources online and what you can find for free. As far as books and just ordering books that you may need, if you're just learning like 1 or 2 languages at a particular time, then 50 to 100 bucks should all be really all that you need for learning. Everything else you can probably find for free online, PDFs and such. As far as time, I would say maybe between like a year to 2 years, considering you may be doing this part time in between your job. Um, Things that you need to ask yourself before considering this option is mainly, is 1 to 2 years feasible for you? Do you want to make the transition sooner? Do you want to make it a little bit longer? That's up to you. Also, do you have the discipline to actually stick this out? You're going to fall into like different hardships while trying to study and trying to learn this. But I mean, if you have that discipline, then you will be able to get through it. Um, and for all of these routes, really, I would say one question to really consider is, are you willing to give up a lot of free time with your friends and family, because it's going to require a lot of hard work? But I mean, a lot of people are doing this method or taking this approach right now of self study, so it's definitely possible for you. It's just, do you have it in yourself to go through that? So the second route in which you can take to enter the tech industry, or at least to learn code, is through a fairly new concept called coding boot camps. What boot camps are, they're basically immersive programs in which instructors take students from a very limited to no background to a position in which they're employable by hiring managers on tech teams. Each boot camp is going to be a little bit different, but what they do offer consistently is a structure to your learning. Um, Unlike the self-study approach, there is actually a course guideline of what you'll be learning. So there is a solid curriculum. Um, and typically they'll be offering programming languages, or they'll be offering the teaching of programming languages for things that are actually in demand in the industry. Um, Another leg up on the self-study approach is that boot camps offer you the access to an actual instructor. So those times of which you would have gotten stuck by yourself, you have an instructor which you can bounce your ideas off of, or to give you some guidance. So that's always nice to have. Boot camps typically last between 3 to 6 months. I think 3 months is probably more of the average, but what they do require is a shit ton of hard work. Um, on average, you may be spending between 80 to 100 plus hours uh, per week. That's per week, studying. And you're going to have to go all in for the duration of that 3 months. At the end of it, I won't say it's guaranteed that you'll get a job, but at the end of it, you will be a lot more employable. Um, as long as you go all in, you have to really give it your all for that 3 months. And after that 3 months, really, if you really put that quality work in, then what you can get out of it is really amazing. You have to give up a lot. Boot camps, because they require you to put in so much time, 80 to 100 plus hours a week, you will have to quit your job for this. For a lot of people, that may not be feasible right now, and I'll outline the costs of boot camp shortly. But just consider that there, you'll have to give up your job that you're working right now. You would have to give up pretty much all your free time that you would have been spending with your friends or hanging out or whatever, to just commit yourself to this. But I mean, at the end of the program, it's 100% worth it. You'll be a lot closer to your goal, of which should be at this point to become some sort of software developer, or at least have the skills of a software developer. I wouldn't go through this program if the goal was not to become a software developer. I would just take the longer approach, which would be the self-study. As far as the costs, boot camps are popping up all over the place now, and the cost can really range. You can spend as little as $3,000, or you can spend as much as 24,000, which I saw at the highest, I believe. You have to figure out a few things for yourself. Figure out whether or not you can actually afford the $3,000 to $24,000, depending on which boot camp you choose. Whether or not you can actually take off of work, or at least quit your job for that amount of time, 3 months. Also, I would plan to be out of work for maybe 5 months, up to 5 to 6 months, considering that you may not get a job immediately after graduating the boot camp. It's likely to happen, but I mean, if you bust your ass, then really you should have a decent offering at the end of your boot camp. Also, like, do you have what it takes for a boot camp? I mean, I said the 80 plus hours, and I don't want you like to think that that's a joke. Like that's dead serious. Um, you have to make a full-time commitment to this. So lastly, the most expensive and most time-consuming approach for becoming a software developer is by obtaining a computer science degree. Taking this approach will gain you more of an understanding for how it is that a computer works, more than just the software layer. Those graduating with a computer science degree today are some of the most sought after job candidates on the market right now. They have so many doors open to them, and more than just software development roles. They have networking, communications, let's see, securities, and many more positions that at which are at their fingertips, basically. But if the goal is to become a software developer, computer science majors, they also have a leg up over people who self-study and people who take the bootcamp approach as well. They have a more in-depth understanding of the way the computer works. They have more understanding of the theory behind computer science as well. Also, these students, if they're competing against candidates who are going to boot camps and candidates who are taking the self-study approach, those with computer science degrees, they will for sure be selected 9 times out of 10 over those other two candidates. That's just because they know more about the computer. They may not necessarily know how to program as well as that person graduating from the boot camp or the person who took the self-study approach for 2 years, because with a computer science degree, you don't get as much hands-on experience coding, whereas with the boot camp, you're coding every single day. The self-study approach, I would imagine you're going to try to code every day. That may not always be feasible, but you're getting a lot more hours hands-on coding than that computer science major has. That gives you the advantage, but you need to have an established portfolio and a GitHub account. Otherwise, that employer is just going to go based off of what the resume says. There is a bias. They're going to go towards the person who has the computer science degree, even if they don't know how to code as well. So the costs that you need to consider before pursuing the computer science degree are that of tuition for your college and the cost of time. Do you have the 4 years to put forth towards studying to pursue this degree? I just checked on collegeboard.com for the state or for the in-state tuition of the school that I went to, the University of Delaware, and the cost of tuition per year is roughly $15,000. That's if you're living off campus. You multiply that by the 4 years that you're there, you could be looking at upwards of $60,000+. But you do have a lot coming back towards you upon graduation. But it's just a matter of whether or not you can put out $60,000 and 4 years of your time to become a software developer. So there you have it, the 3 different methods of which you can pursue learning software development. The first and the cheapest in terms of financially is the self-study approach. Many people are doing it these days. The resources are available for you, but you will need a lot of discipline. Also, be willing to spend upwards of 2+ years maybe pursuing this, as you will most likely just be studying in your spare time. The second approach would be the boot camp. Boot camps are going to provide you a little bit more structure. They will give you access most likely to hiring managers directly out of the boot camp, and you can make that career change a lot swifter. And the third and the longest and most expensive approach would be pursuing a computer science degree. With a CS degree, you'll gain like a great deal of knowledge as far as how the computer works, but this approach is going to cost you 4 years and possibly more than $60,000. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, leave a comment, share, and I'll catch you next time.